All right, here is what you would call a white man from England, British United Kingdom. All right, and the truth finally come to him, and him attack it. Him a tell the truth, as it should have been told years ago. Listen to what him a say. Revelation time.
I've lived in 5 different countries in Africa. I've lived in Malawi, Botswana, Zambia, Morocco, and Nigeria. I've also travelled extensively in South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Egypt. Never once in all my years of living or travelling on the African continent have I been mistreated in any way because of my ethnicity, because of my skin colour. And this is in spite of the fact that I come from a country who are guilty for some of the worst colonial crimes ever inflicted throughout human history. That's
Very true. And it's the same thing reggae music have been singing about over the years. Slavery, man, has been, yeah, I say that, and my brethrens, them and all that, we put it in the music for over 60 years, and yes, it still continues even today because they say slavery ended on paper. Yeah, but only on paper. And even in the United States and England, it continues even worse. As a matter of fact, those who started it have entrenched it in so many different countries, in so many different people's minds, that it's hard for them to escape it. And they have set it up in such a way that our reggae music sing the system set. That's why we say that. But it's good to see at least one person, yeah, is out there now speaking the truth. I wish that more people would come out like yourself and speak the truth so that the people can see it. Yeah, man. L- let's listen to what else you say. Go on, talk.
right. I was born in Great Britain. And without doubt, the British and the French committed the greatest atrocities across the continent of Africa. The Belgians have a good claim for the greatest atrocity in their treatment of the Congolese, but if one looks at it as an entity and the number of countries that were invaded by the British and French colonialists, one will see that they are the worst protagonists.
Very true. And my reggae music, I've been saying the same thing. And you know what the system does? When you speak those truth, like Peter Touch, Bob, and everybody else that they have been killing off one by one, because they rise up and speak the truth, such to the point that Bob put in song as we tell him, every time we plant a seed, they say, kill it before it can grow. Yeah, man. Our reggae music have been speaking the same thing what you're saying now in our 2023. For 60 plus years we have been sending the same message to the world. Wickedness, guiltiness rest on their conscience, and they live a life of false pretense. Every day the big fish eat up the small fish. So many of our reggae songs speak of the same atrocities that you are talking about as a British man right now. Let's listen to what else you say.
Despite this and despite the behavior of my ancestors, I have never been mistreated. In fact, I have been welcomed warmly in all of the countries I have lived in or visited. And when in Africa, I don't cocoon myself in some enclave dome which is inhabited by people who like to refer to themselves as expats. I hate that term. But no, I integrate as much as possible within local society. I will go to a shebeen. I will go to any compound and experience life as it is for people in the country where I am based. So whether that's in the village, whether it's in the township, whether it's in the local bar, I will integrate, I will mix, and I am always made welcome. Now contrast that with the way many Africans are treated when they choose to live in the United Kingdom or France or other parts of Europe. The difference is incredible.
Look at how they've been treated living in the United States of America. Check that out. And can you imagine? I keep telling people, can you imagine how many atrocities and killings were committed against our ancestors, people who came to this country in the early part of the slave trade? And there was no cameras, no cell phone, no nothing for them to send the messages of their suffering to the people. There was no cameras to take pictures of some of the atrocities. Can you imagine how many of them were killed, tortured, lynched, whatever, totally desecrated, eviscerated, when there was no one to take a picture to show the truth in this time? Yes, man, what a suffering. And it still continues today in a different twist. Slavery was only abolished on paper, but there's a different twist to slavery, and it's all over the place. It's in the music industry, it's in the entertainment industry. Yes, they brand and teach their ideologies of genocide to some of our people, and they in turn turn around and destroy their own people, our people. Check that out.
Everyday racism experienced by African people on the European continent is a crime against humanity. Now, there are different types of racism. The most obvious is the day-to-day experience that an African will have whilst living in parts of Europe. The name calling, the staring, the subtle discrimination. And for many Africans, they will just brush it off because it is so common that they just get used to it, sadly.
And don't forget, say, even the so-called monarchy, the same people them that brought in the slavery situation and sufferings and black people, they call us commoners, and yet we are the people whose blood them a suck, because none of them no work. Them no work, and yet they are supported, and they lived lavish lifestyle. They are nothing but human parasites. Yeah, man. And they should be destroyed. Yes, they should be destroyed. And yet they're calling us commoners.
Worse, though, is the institutional and structural racism that Africans have to abide with. The restrictions on their movements. The fact that most passports emulating from the African continent will only allow Africans to travel visa-free to a handful of countries. And most of those will be other African countries or countries in the Caribbean.
I will continue this. Listen for part two. Listen for part two. Speak truth.